This past weekend, I went to the MGM Casino in Northfield, Ohio for the Gangs All Here tour starring two of my all-time favorite bands, Skid Row and Buckcherry, along with opener Kurt Deimer. To say that I walked away completely surprised would be a massive understatement, and I will tell you why. Let's get into it. Skid Row, while one of my favorite bands, have definitely had a little bit of a tumultuous history, to say the least, when it comes to singers after Sebastian Bach left, with the late Johnny Solinger, rest in peace, replacing him, Z.P. Thart from Dragon Force, and Tony Harnell from TNT. So you might say 10,000 singers in one band. Sorry for the pun. Now, of course, Skid Row has the young-ish Swedish singer Eric Granwall, formerly of Swedish Idol and the band Heat. And not only is he absolutely incredible, but he's rather inspirational as well, as he's a cancer survivor and he's only 35 years old. In my opinion, he's certainly brought new life into the band, completely rejuvenating them, but we'll get to that in a moment. To kick off the night was opening act Kurt Deimer, featuring a very good friend of mine on guitar, Sammy Bowler, who's got some really great solo stuff out, by the way. Definitely worth your time to check out. He doesn't actually play for Kurt Deimer. He just was filling in on this tour. Unfortunately, my fiance and I got to the venue late, so we only caught, I think it was just the last song, but it sounded solid for what it was. Next up was Buckcherry, who, seriously, in my opinion, such a great band, very, very underrated. And I believe this is like my fourth or fifth time seeing them. The first time I ever saw them was in Crewfest 2008, which is crazy because they were still kind of hot at that time, a little bit more relevant than they are now. And that was 3 years after the release of 15 in 2005, which was like 9 years after the release of their first album, the self-titled, in 1999. Point being, Buckcherry has been around for a long, long time. Singer Josh Todd has also been on this channel a couple of times. I'll put some links down below if you want to check out those interviews. He was on just as recently as 3 or 4 months ago or something. Anyways, they opened up the show with Lit Up, and if you've ever seen Buckcherry live, that's typically what they open with. And you know that they are a very high-energy band, especially Josh and guitarist Stevie D. And this show was no different. But that being said, while they did sound great, I personally was a little bit disappointed with the selection of the set list. Right after Lit Up, they launched into the song So Hot from their second-to-last album, Hellbound, which is a fantastic record and song. But I definitely wish they would have played some more stuff from Hellbound. 2015's Rock and Roll, which I thought was awesome, with songs like Bring It On Back and Tight Pants. And I think it would have been great to hear something like Check Your Head or For the Movies from the first record, but that's wishful thinking, I know. They did also play the song Gluttony, though, from the Confessions album, which, quick sidebar, I believe that was the record that they actually wanted to, I think it's like a concept album. They wanted to turn it into a movie, like a short film or something, but they were unable to secure the funding, so it never happened. But definitely would have been interesting to see that for sure. Back in 2014, they released an EP called Fuck, where every song has the word fuck in the title. It's so immature, you'd think I'd fucking put it together or something. And on this tour, they're playing Somebody Fucked With Me, which is cool, I guess, but honestly, I would have much preferred to hear Say Fuck It, which was kind of a bit of a hit for them, I would say, and it's a cover of I Love It by Icona Pop, albeit with somewhat different lyrics, of course. It's an absolute banger, though, and the one time that I got to see them play it live, I mean, it gave me literal goosebumps. It was that good. Why they wouldn't put that into the set, they'd pick something else, who knows? While we're on the topic of covers, they also played their cover of Bryan Adams' Summer of '69, which they've been doing it for a while now, and they kind of been pushing it hard, but man, I don't know. It's a phenomenal song, obviously, the original. It's a timeless classic, but covering it just feels unnecessary. I thought that when they first put it out, or I think they actually started playing it live before they released a studio version, and even then I'm just like, I just don't get it. It's like covering I don't know, Free Fallin' or something from Tom Petty. Amazing song, but no matter how good the cover is, it's just pointless, especially when you're not really doing anything to make the song your own and you're just playing it straight through as the original artist did. It sounds like Buckcherry, for better or for worse, but I don't know. I guess that's it. It was just kind of there in the set list. Speaking of 69, though, perhaps you have a massive head like I do, and you're just never able to find a hat that properly fits your head. Check out Mammoth Headwear. I'm actually wearing the hat right now. You can't tell, but it's backwards. But it really is Mammoth, I swear. And it really does fit me like a dream. Sometimes I can't even get like a size 8.5 hat to fit me properly. It's too tight, it don't fit. Check out the link below and use the code Logan at checkout for 10% off your order. It's not just hats either, all sorts of stuff. Shirts, hoodies, beanies, all that kind of stuff. Mammoth Headwear is the undisputed place to go if you have a massive head like I do. Getting back on track here, I did miss a portion of Buckcherry's set as I was talking to my friend Sammy from the opening band, but I do believe that Buckcherry played Ridin from the second album, 2001's Time Bomb, which is cool to see that record getting a little bit of love. It's definitely a little bit underrated, and if I recall, their label at that time, DreamWorks, like the same company that makes the movies, they had a label at one point. They gave the band zero support when they released that record, which is partially what actually led to the band falling apart prior to the release of 15, which I also did a whole video on this topic, which I'll link down below if you want to check it out. But really is a crazy story because the band essentially imploded before reforming and putting out arguably their biggest, not arguably, their big record. They closed their set, of course, with the stripper mom classic, Crazy Bitch. I've told this story before on the channel, so I'll keep it super quick in case you're new here. But when I first saw Buckcherry on Crew Fest, like 15 years ago, 08, I was like 13 or something. So my mom took me, and in the middle of the song, when they get to the bridge, Josh goes into this over-the-top rant about banging in a gas station bathroom, all that kind of stuff. You can hear a similar version to what I heard on their Live and Loud 2009 album. And my mom was just so overwhelmed with the disappointment in her parental decision to, as she puts it, expose me to that filth. It was awesome. But boy, was she in for quite a shock when Motley came on right after. Holy moly. Anyways, all in all, a very solid performance the Buckcherry turned in. Maybe not quite as awesome as it could have been, though. I certainly miss former guitarist Keith Nelson quite a bit. In my opinion, maybe it's just because this was the first time I've seen Buckcherry without Keith, but I do think his absence was a little bit noticeable. I think Josh and Keith had this just undeniable chemistry that made Buckcherry so great in the beginning. Not that they're not now. I think Stevie's also phenomenal. He's been in the band for a long time, but definitely miss Keith. Nonetheless, though, a great show and a very promising start to what was about to come up next, Skid Row. I had seen some footage of Skid Row with their new singer, Eric Gronwall, who's been in the band, I think, for maybe like a year and a half or so at this point. Of course, I mean, he sounds phenomenal. I thought that the first time I heard him, and their latest album, The Gang's All Here, while it's a horribly lame name, let's be real. It's just a phenomenal album from start to finish, even if that song Time Bomb it's a little corny. Though I already knew it would be a great show, you can still never like fully know or understand until you see it for yourself. And Jesus Christ, what a show. That dude can sing beginning to end, a phenomenal show. They opened the show with Slave to the Grind, and let's be honest, that has got to be one of the greatest concert opening songs of all time. Just an epic, borderline metal song, and a great way to kick off what would be an incredible performance. I'd say the set was a fairly even split between the first two records, along with Time Bomb and the title track from The Gang's All Here, and the cover of the Ramones' Psychotherapy from the B-Sides release, Beside Ourselves, which I think came out in 1991, which features bassist Rachel Bolan on vocals. So it was a decently well-rounded set, but once again, Subhuman Race, their third album, and their last was Sebastian, it just gets no love at all, and I just don't understand why. I guess I'm not a Skid Row setlist historian, but I do not believe they ever play anything from this album. If they do, it's certainly very rare. There's some really great songs on there, including Beat Yourself Blind, and one of the greatest ballads of all time, not even a ballad, just one of the greatest songs of all time, Breaking Down. I don't know what it is about that song, but it's just always hit me in a very emotional way, and I have no doubts that Eric could crush both that and Beat Yourself Blind. They need to give Subhuman Race a lot more attention than they do. Same with Sebastian in his solo sets. One of the highlights, though, was that this particular show was on September 16th, coincidentally, just the night before my fiance's birthday, and 2 nights before our daughter's birthday. They're only 1 day apart, and hilariously, my son and I are the same day. But anyways, it was guitarist Dave Snake Sabo's birthday, so they actually brought out Buckcherry on stage, and they did a group sing-along of Happy Birthday. Here's the clip.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Snake. Happy birthday to you. Snake, everybody, come on!
I will say, though, I sent my mom a video of I Remember You from that show. She loves that song, and it's sort of now become a tribute to my sister, who sadly passed away last summer, and she was just not at all impressed. She thought Eric didn't do that great of a job, but I guess I kind of get it. When you're used to hearing something a certain way for over 30 years, anything else just sounds off, no matter how good it is. But she did admit that Eric's voice very closely resembles Bach, which I definitely agree. He's hands down the guy for the job, aside from Sebastian himself, of course. They closed the show with the staple Youth Gone Wild, bringing one epic show to a close. And my God, I just cannot speak highly enough of this current incarnation of Skid Row, which is Eric Gronwall on vocals, the original members, Rachel Bolan, Snake Sabo, and Scotty Hill, and then drummer Rob Hammersmith. And the original guys, the original 3, they're all pushing 60 years old, still kicking ass. And again, Eric Gronwall is just one hell of a singer. I go to a ton of shows, and no bullshit, this is one of the best shows I have seen in quite some time, especially this year. I still have a few shows left this year that I'm going to, including Andrew Dice Clay in November, which I'm so fucking stoked for. But I have no doubt that this show will absolutely be in my top 3 of the year, quite possibly the best. It was seriously that good. Obviously, the rumors and conversations of Bach returning are seemingly never ending. And up until Eric joining, I would have said that Sebastian rejoining would be the only way that this band could come back from the dead. I mean, keep in mind, I remember them like 10 years ago playing 500 to 600 cap rooms and doing maybe 50% business. I mean, they were just not selling a lot of tickets. And this show this past weekend was at an 1,800 cap room and nearly sold out. It's just absolutely incredible, the growth that this band has seen since Eric joined the band. I think I speak for a vast majority when I say yes, Skid Row reuniting with Sebastian Bach would be incredible. Of course, would kick them up to an even higher notch than they're at now in terms of ticket sales. And honestly, if Axl Rose and Slash can get back together, I think anybody can. But if they continue to have killer performances like this and a great follow-up to The Gang's All Here, and a better title, of course, then who knows what'll happen next. Should you skip out on seeing Bach if he's doing a solo show near you? Hell no. And let's not forget how incredible some of Bach's solo stuff is, especially Kicking and Screaming. Holy shit, that album is it's a masterpiece. What a record. I've seen Bach a number of times, probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 times or something. He still brings it. It's been a while. Last time I saw him was actually on the I think it was the 30th anniversary of the first Skid Row record. Great show. Maybe he doesn't bring it as much as he did, 10, 11 years ago, whatever, but it's still excellent. That said, though, major props to Eric Gronwall for bringing Skid Row out of Skid Row. All right, though, I gotta run. My fiance is already in our room making a mess without me, so I gotta go. But thanks so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks to Mammoth Headwear for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out mammothheadwear.com. Use code Logan at checkout for 10% off your order. And I will see you next time.